Hi guys! Today we're going to be learning about line plots, how to make them, how to read them. I know you guys have already learned some stuff about graphs. We've been reading graphs and answering questions about graphs, but now I want to be showing you how we're going to actually make a graph using the data that we have, because you're going to have an assignment where you have to measure things and take those things and make a line plot using the information you get, okay? So first we're gonna start with some data that we got. So I'm just came up with something, we're gonna pretend that after all of this is over, we're going to a birthday party. And we wanted to figure out how many kids are a certain age at the birthday party. So first we gathered some data. Now you guys can write down the definition if you want, like we do in class, or you can just think about it. We wrote this definition down already in our red notebooks, I'm pretty sure. I think. So data is just information that we gather. So it's either the dots in a table or a graph. So when we're thinking about the ages of kids that are going to a birthday party, I came up with some data. You're gonna notice that you recognize some of the names. I know that these ages are not how old you are, so don't get upset. So this is some of the data that we have. So we have Aiden, that's his name, and then his age is 8. Tori, her age is 3. Ben, his age is 5. Luke, and I know Ben, I know Ben, you're not 5. Luke, his age is 5. Sam, her age is 6. Joa, his age is 6, and I know you're not 6. Chase is 7, and Carly is 6. So this is the data that we collected to be able to make the line plot that we're going to use. So first and foremost, data, information that we gathered, right? It's going to be the information that we use to make the line plot. So the very first thing that we need for a line plot, what do you think? A line. We need a line. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to make a line. They also call this line, when we're talking about graphs, the x-axis. So you see the line, and they call it the x-axis. So that's the line that is across, okay? So this is the x-axis. X marks the spot. It's the x-axis. It's where all of our information is going to go. So again, this is called the x-axis. The line that is across, the line that goes across the bottom. X-axis. X marks the spot. This is where all our information is going to go. So that's the first thing we need to do, is put the line, put the x-axis. The next thing we need to do is figure out the range. So I know before when we've talked about graphs, we haven't really talked about ranges of things. The range is the number that goes down at the bottom of the graph. So we want to think about the smallest number and then the biggest number. So when we're looking at our data, we're looking for the range of numbers. Which one is the smallest age? What's the smallest age that we have on this data? I want you to look for a minute and figure out the name of the person that has the youngest age, the smallest number. So you're right, that's going to be Tori, if you said Tori. So Tori, she has the smallest age, that's 3. So that's where the first number on our line plot's going to be. It's going to be a 3 because we're looking for the range. Remember, the smallest to the biggest. Now, what is the biggest number? What's the biggest age that you see? What's the name of the student or the child that has the largest number or age? So it's Aiden, right? 8. So when we're talking about range, we want to put 3 at the very front, and then the biggest number we have is 8. So it's going to go down here at the end. So I'm going to put 8. That means that's the number I have to go up to. Now, am I just going to leave it from 3 to 8? No, I need to put in the numbers that range from 3 to 8. So the range is 3 to 8. So now I'm going to just label it 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. So now you can see the range. I know I put these one's a little bit further than those ones. So you're gonna see the range, right? So now we have the range from 3 to 8, because 3 was our smallest number and 8 was our biggest number. Now the next thing that we need to do is we need to put the title, name of the line plot, right? And what do we always do with the title of a story, of a graph? What do we always do with the title? Star it. So, title, I was thinking age of kids. That would probably be the best title because that's what we care about. We're talking about their age. I know they're at a party. We're not really talking about the cake that they're eating or how many people show up to the party. We're talking about the age of the kids at the party. So for the title, I'm going to write age of kids. And I am going to star it. So I have my x-axis, which is the line. I have my range, which is my smallest number on my data to my biggest number, which is 8. So my range is from 3 to 8. And I put my title, age of kids. Now, the last thing I need to do is at the bottom where I put my range, I need to actually put what it is. 3 what? 3 pickles, 8 pencils. What is it? So when you're thinking the number 3, or the number 4, 5, or 8, what do those numbers represent? What does that number mean? 3 pickles, 3 cupcakes, what is it? Years, right? So we're gonna put down at the bottom, we have to label that x-axis. So we labeled the top with the title, we put the range, and now we need to label the x-axis. So it's years. So down at the bottom, right underneath the range, I would just write years, because that's what we're labeling it with. We're not labeling it as pickles, we're not labeling it as inches, they are the years, right? Years, or we could put age. Years/age, whichever one is better. Either one would work. So that's how many years old they are or what their age is, right? So now we have our data, right, that we collected. We went around, we asked them how old they were. Then we put our x-axis down at the bottom, right? And then we thought about our range. What was my smallest number? What was my biggest number? And I start with my smallest number and I count all the way up till I get to my biggest number. That's my range. Then I put my title. I think of what am I trying to show people with my line plot. And then I think about labeling my x-axis with my measurement, what measurement if I'm using. If I was measuring how long people's hair was and I was using inches, I would write inches down at the bottom instead of years or age. All right, now is the fun part. We get to take the data and we get to plot it. So first I have Aiden, who is 8. I'm gonna go over 8 and I'm gonna put a little circle or a little X. I'm gonna do a circle. And remember that your circles have to be the same size, because if I put one big circle and one little circle, it's gonna make it look like I have more of one age than I do. So there we go. Aiden is 8. Now I have Tori is 3, so I'm gonna put a dot, a circle, the same size circle over 3, right? And then, there we go. And actually that's our range, which is funny because the first 2 data points we had were our range. So now I'm moving on to Ben, and I'm gonna do Ben and Luke and Sam at the same time. So Ben is 5, Luke is 5, and Sam is 6. So when I have Ben is 5, I'm gonna put my circle here, right? And now it says Luke is 5 as well. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put it right above the 5 dot that I already put for Ben, because Ben is 5. So I put that dot there. And now Luke is 5. So I have to put a dot right above. So I'm gonna put another dot right above 5 for Luke, okay? Now I'm gonna move on and do Sam and Joa. They're both 6, coincidentally. So I have Sam who's 6 and Joa who's 6. So right over 6, I'm gonna put 1 dot for Sam. I'm gonna put 1 dot for Joa. Okay. And now I'm gonna do Chase and Carly. Chase is 7, so I'm gonna put a dot over 7, and Carly is 6, so I'm gonna be putting another dot over 6 for Carly. So Chase is 7, I'm putting a dot for 7. Chase, I know you just turned 8. And then Carly is 6, so I'm gonna put another dot over 6. So now looking at our graph, we can decide which age is most common. Remember, common means popular. Which age was most common, most popular? Which age? 6. Because on 6, we had 1, 2, 3 kids that were the age of 6. Which age was the least common? Which age was the least common? I want you to look. Which age was the least common? 4. There's nobody that was the age of 4 at this party anyways, right? So now I want you to think about this. We made our line plot. We put our x-axis, that line that goes down the bottom. And then we made a range, right? We found the smallest number and started it here, and the biggest number and put it down at the end, and then put the numbers in between. That's our range. Our age ranges from age 3 all the way to age 8. You could put age 9 and age 1 and 2 in front of it, but really that's just going to be a waste of your line plot. We don't have to always start at 0. We don't always have to start at 1 when we're doing a line plot. We can start with our smallest number in our data and then do that. So after we did our range, which is the smallest number to the biggest number, then we put our title, right? So it's the name of the line plot, and we always start the title, right? After we did that, I also labeled my x-axis. What am I measuring it with? Years or age? What am I measuring it with? And then we use our data. We use the data, the information we gained, that we gathered, and we put all of our data points on the graph, right? So now, quick questions before we move on. It's a pretty simple way to make a line plot. Quick questions before we move on. If I had a question that said, how many students or how many kids are older than the age of 5? How many kids are older than the age of 5? So I need to find age 5. Here's 3, 4, here's 5. Now my question was older than 5. So am I going to count 5 if they're older than 5? Do I care about 5 right now? No. I want to know who is older than 5. So what I would do is I would look at the graph just from above 5. So I have 6, 7, and 8. How many kids were older than 5? I have 1, 2, 3 that were 6. So 3, 4, 5. So how many kids were older than 5? 5. Now, if I'm looking at this graph, how many kids were younger than 5? It means I need a 5, 5 again. And how many are younger? Am I asking how many people are 5 and younger? No, I just want to know how many kids were younger than 5. So that does not count 5. That means I'm going to go anywhere below 5. So I have 4 and 3. How many kids were younger than 5? Just one. Just one kid that was 3 years old. Okay? So when we're looking at our graphs, we're going to have to be able to answer questions like that too, which is kind of what we've been practicing with our do nows, right? Our do nows, we would have line plots and you guys would have to compare them and answer the questions. Now remember, it is always the best idea to put our information on top. I always tell you that, right? So if I have 1, I would write 1 here, 2, 3. It's always better to organize it so I can already tell I did the work. I write how many dots I have when I am doing it, and then that way I can look at it immediately. I don't have to go, oh, how many? 6, 1, 2, 3. Oh, it's 3, because I already put it. I put 3 right there. Remember, you always want to star your title so you understand what they're asking. They're asking about the age of kids at the party, right? And you always want to make sure that after you get your plot, your line plot, that you want to put your data, how many points you have for each one. Okay, so this week you're going to be having some different questions from our workbooks, asking you to look at line plots and examining line plots, but I'm also going to have you make your own line plot. What you're going to do is you're going to measure 10 items, 10 utensils, 10 markers, 10 pens, different utensils. I want you to measure markers and crayons and pencils, 10 things that you write with. You're going to take those things. I'm going to write, okay, 2 inches, 7 inches, 8 inches, right? And I'm going to write 10 different utensils that I write with, and I'm going to measure them in inches, okay? And then you're going to put it into a table where you put, this is how many, I had 4 things that were 8 inches. I had 2 things that were 6 inches. I had 1 thing that was 10 inches. And then you're going to take that and make your own line plot. You just have to make sure x-axis, your range, right? Your title. You have to tell me down here, it's going to be inches, right? Because you're going to be measuring those utensils in inches. And then you have to put your data on there, okay? So you can always go back to this video. You can always zip through it and use what you have, okay? I'll see you guys later. I hope you enjoyed our first online lesson about line plots. Bye, guys.